So I'm trying to use natural lighting in this video because it's really hot in my animal room and I don't want to have a bunch of bright lights shining on me. So if it's a little bad, I'm sorry, but I think natural light usually looks better. It's just cloudy outside today, which is really great luck. So thank you, clouds, for ruining my day. Hey guys, what's up? My name's Tyler Rugge, and today I'm doing a Q&A. The biggest cop-out, easy video to film because that's what I needed today. I don't know if you can see Gucci behind my coldest water bottle. Must have just shed. She's just coming out to say hello. Hello. Are you gonna come up? Hi Gucci. Hello, you're so cute, your little snoot. Wow, amazing. I'm doing a Q&A. I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me some questions. So that's what I'm doing today. We're answering some questions. So we're gonna get straight into it. And a good one to start with actually would be animals you would like to breed one day, because one of them that I want to breed one day are tricolored hognoses. We have two tricolored hognoses. So there's Gucci and then there's Versace, who is a male. And they're not big enough yet to breed. I need to put some more weight on them, but once they're ready, I would love to breed tricolored hognoses. Hognoses? Yeah. I think they're really cool. They're like my favorite type of hognose probably. I also really like axanthic hognoses, but we have the tricolors that we can breed, so I want to do that. I'm also breeding my Mexican black king snakes. Obviously, if you guys saw my last video, you know that my female is probably going to lay eggs pretty soon. I put a lay box in her enclosure. And then, as you know, we're breeding crested geckos. Make sure to check out celestialexotics.net, linked down below, and shop in our online pet store as well. We had a few eggs actually hatch in the last few days, and one of the baby geckos came out like doing a little salute, or it looked like he was trying to give you a high five or something. It was very bizarre. He was just, I'll insert the picture here, and I think I might have a video, but he was just like frozen in that position, and I think Maddie thought he like died or something coming out of the egg and was extremely concerned, but he was just trying to get a high five straight out of the egg. I'm sweating, so sorry about it. Someone asked, what was your first job and what did you have to do? I love your content, by the way. So my very first job, I need to adjust the lighting because it's getting darker as we speak. My very first job, I worked at Tilly's, which I don't know if there's Tilly's everywhere, but Tilly's is kind of just like, you know, teen skater clothing store, kind of like the same idea as like PacSun, Zoomies, and stuff like that. So I worked at Tilly's. I worked at the first one that opened up in Michigan, and I got the job because I was walking around a mall, and there were people at the mall trying to find people who would look like they would want to work at Tilly's, basically. So they come up to me and they were like, based on what you're wearing, it looks like you would like this kind of clothing store, so do you want to work here? And I was just about to turn 16, so I was about to, you know, want to get a job. So I was like, okay. So I worked there, but I was only seasonal, and it was fun, but it was just really awkward because they, you know, if you work retail, then you get it. But they really just push you to talk to every customer and just harass every single customer and ask them what they want and try to help them and push sales even if they don't want to talk to you. And I am a pretty awkward person, so it was hard for me to do that, but they'd be like in the headset like, Tyler, that person just walked into the store, go talk to them. And I would, and sometimes they'd be really nice and it'd be fine and it was like good, but other times they would literally be like, I don't want to like talk to you, basically. And then they'd be in the headset like, you need to keep going, and I'm like, I'm gonna make them want to leave the store, so I should probably just leave them alone. I'm very empathetic towards retail workers when they're really pushy to me in the store because I understand that they don't actually want to do it and they're being forced to. That was my first job, but I didn't work there very long. And then my second job, where I worked for like 4 years, was a like senior living community that had an assisted living and memory care, and I was originally a server, and I pretty much served the whole time, but I also did like prep, cook work, and supervising work and stuff like that. And then I also worked at a really fancy hotel as a banquet server, and I would work at weddings And I also ended up working at a dog daycare, boarding, grooming, training facility, and did all kinds of stuff there for a little while. And that was the last job I had before I was like, let's make videos on the internet for a living. So yeah, someone asked, how is Sealing? Sealing is doing really good. So I set up a really awesome enclosure for Sealing actually. It's a paludarium and it's like 40 gallons, and Sealing has so much space to swim around now. The water's filtered. He has a little land area to bask in, and I filmed a video setting this up, but I filmed the video right before Nova died. So I filmed it, Nova died, and then like a month passed and I just did not feel like editing this video because there was so much footage. It was going to be a really tedious video to put together and I just was not feeling it. So it never really saw the light of day because by the time I was like ready to film it, I had already let a lot of the plants in it die and I still have to replace the dead plants in there. Some of it was my fault because there was like a fern in there that I didn't water. And then Sealing also tore things apart and pushed a lot of dirt into the water and stuff. He did enjoy using the dead fern as a sitting area, and he has a nice paludarium. So yeah, he's doing really good. Do you plan to do any more conventions? So I miss going to different events. Yeah, I really do want to go to more conventions and stuff. Playlist Live, I don't really know what happens to that anymore, but they've been like canceling it and pushing it out and stuff like that. So yeah, I would love to go to Playlist Live again someday because that's always a really fun time. I haven't gone to the past couple Aquashellas, but I would eventually love to go to Aquashella again because I always have a lot of fun there. Pet Fest is something that we're currently talking about. Very early stages in the works. We're talking about a Pet Fest 2022. So if you guys would like to have a Pet Fest, leave like the location or biggest city near you down below where you think we should have it, because we're trying to figure out a location still. We're talking about either Canada or the United States. So even if you live in Canada, feel free to leave your location, but we want to definitely expand Pet Fest. And you know, not last year, God, that was so long ago. 2 years ago when we had Pet Fest, it was so much fun and we invited a ton of creators. So many people came and it was just such a success. This year we want to plan it even more ahead of time so that we can try to invite even more creators and just have more people be able to attend. So that's another thing we're trying to put together, so stay tuned for that. Someone asked something you would change about the reptile/pet community. So this is a really good question because there are a lot of things about the pet keeping community, and I would say even more so the reptile community, that really bother me and that I would change. And I say mostly the reptile community because I feel like I'm most involved in the reptile community. I know there's issues in really any community online or in real life or whatever. Like there's nothing that doesn't have issues. Just keep that in mind. Like I'm not just totally trying to bag on the community, but there's definitely things that could change. And I think one of them is a lot of people in the reptile keeping community, and again, different pet communities in general, especially online, people are very judgmental and like gatekeepy about different things, just very rude to each other. And I think it's important to remember, especially when there are people posting in groups or posting YouTube videos or whatever, when people make mistakes or doing things wrong, people are just so quick to jump on them and attack them and say you're an idiot. There are so many people in the reptile community who just spread so much negativity, and I just think it could improve so much more if people just tried to like help each other more and not tear each other down. It's like people want to tear other people down and make them feel so terrible that they don't want to even keep reptiles anymore or something. But you should be just building people up and helping people improve. And if someone refuses to improve, then yeah, there's really no excuse for that. I would definitely change the way people treat each other, and I wish we could kind of come together as more of a community because it does feel very divided. And I also see the reptile and pet communities in a different perspective than a lot of people do as a content creator who, you know, shows my animals how I take care of them and has a pretty large following. I definitely feel like I get a lot of judgment just because I put myself out there so much, and there are so many people who I don't even know who don't like me just because I'm Tyler Rugge, a pet YouTuber. And pet YouTube has a very negative connotation to it. I think people might just think pet YouTubers are annoying, or maybe they've seen one or two pet YouTubers who have made a lot of mistakes and then they kind of just group them all together and say they all suck. I've just seen people in groups and different things say they don't like me and they think I'm annoying and blah blah blah, but they can't actually like name things that I've done that they don't like. It's just like they're like, pet YouTubers suck. I kind of get where they come from, because if someone with a large platform does something wrong, they're spreading a lot of misinformation that can be harmful. But just grouping an entire like online community and saying it's bad isn't right to me. And overall, just from my perspective, again, I probably have a somewhat skewed perspective of this as someone who is a pet YouTuber making content and thinking I'm doing a good thing. I think that overall, we are doing a lot of good for the community, because we have definitely sparked a lot of interest in people. And I'm not just talking about like pet YouTubers specifically, but just content creators in general who make content about different animals, whether it be reptiles, birds, whatever, on whatever platform, whether it be YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. I think content creators play a large role in getting people interested in animals now, and also to some degree educating people. And I don't consider myself some huge expert, or like my word is so important and everyone needs to follow what I do or anything like that, but I think I've spread a lot of good information about just pet keeping in general, and different things about like common misconceptions about different pets and just general things that you should and shouldn't do. I've done a lot to try and increase the standards that people have with pet care, and even if they don't take my specific advice, I've definitely encouraged people to do a lot more research, I think, than they would have had they not come across my content, because that's something I push for a lot, and I think that's a good thing. And I think one of the reasons why so many people are starting to take better care of their animals is because of social media and people just spreading that awareness. At the end of the day, I guess I'm just saying people are gonna screw up and stuff regardless, and everyone starts somewhere. People make mistakes. We're only human. Just try to approach things with more kindness and acceptance, I guess, and try to help people and build people up and just help people improve more so than just trying to like tear people down and be negative. Yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know. But with that being said, there are a lot of wonderful people in the different pet keeping communities that I've met that I love, that are very positive and do such a great job with educating people and approaching different issues. And it's something that I think is improving a lot over time, but I still see a lot of negativity and stuff. And there's always going to be negativity to some degree. There's still room for improvement, and I would like to see that change. I think I'll end it with this question, which is, what do you think about the multi-species snake enclosures at zoos? First of all, let's talk about the fact that not all zoos are created equal. Some zoos are really wonderful and do a lot of wonderful things for education. They take great care of their animals, a lot of conservation work, and that's wonderful. There are also zoos that don't do a great job. So as far as keeping multiple snake species in a zoo enclosure, it probably depends. I'm sure there might be some zoos who do things that aren't great like that. It's also important to remember that a zoo setup is very different than like a pet enclosure setup. So like there might be certain snake species that you can technically cohab, but you wouldn't want to do it in your home, because you might keep your snake in like, you know, a 4 or a 6 foot long enclosure. But then if you're at a zoo and the zoo enclosure is like this huge setup that the snakes have so much space to get away from each other and have their own areas, and you know, they're not just in a small enclosed space together, then I feel like it could work out. And I'm assuming that zookeepers would know what they're doing in that regard. And the same thing goes with cohabbing other animals. Like I think zoos sometimes cohab like leopard geckos or other just reptiles or other animals that when you keep them as pets, you might not necessarily want to do. Like cohabbing leopard geckos, for example, I would not personally recommend anyone with a pet leopard gecko cohabbing them, but technically you probably could, as long as you gave them a really big enclosure. And zoos typically do give their reptiles really large enclosures where you probably technically could house multiple without them being stressed. Hopefully that makes sense. I just think zoos are capable of doing a lot of different things with the care of their animals that in your own home you just might not be able to do. So I guess, again, it's hard to say, but I feel like there could be situations where keeping multiple species together could work out in like a zoo setup. But would I recommend it to the average pet owner? Probably not. So yeah, those are all the questions I am answering for today. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to ask me questions for whenever my next Q&A is, make sure to follow me on Instagram, maybe Twitter, but I usually get the questions from Instagram. So that will be linked down below along with all my other social media links. Also check out celestialexotics.net, my online pet store. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.